Hello everyone. Today the topic is gluconeogenesis part 2. So in the part 1 video we have seen what is gluconeogenesis, where does it occur and why does it occur, that is what is the significance of gluconeogenesis and what are the substrates that are used for the gluconeogenesis. Coming to this video, in this video we will see how does gluconeogenesis takes place. That is what are the steps involved in gluconeogenesis and how is the full pathway regulated. So gluconeogenesis is partial reversal of glycolysis. There are some irreversible steps in glycolysis and there are some reversible steps in glycolysis. So keeping the reversible steps in glycolysis, the irreversible steps are overcome by 4 enzymes which are the key enzymes for glycolysis, which we will see in the coming slides. So total there are 10, it is a 10-step reaction in which the 4 enzymes are key enzymes. So in the step 1, the pyruvate that is formed in the cytoplasm in glycolysis enters the mitochondria. In mitochondria there is a carboxylation reaction, that is pyruvate combines with carbon dioxide in the presence of the enzyme pyruvate carboxylase to form oxaloacetate. Pyruvate is a 3-carbon compound and oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound. And here ATP and biotin are the coenzymes for this reaction. Pyruvate carboxylase is the first key gluconeogenesis. So the oxaloacetate that is formed inside the mitochondria has again to be transported to the cytoplasm because all further reactions of gluconeogenesis take place in the cytoplasm. So now how this oxaloacetate gets transported is, it gets transported through the malate aspartate shuttle. So in mitochondria the oxaloacetate gets converted into malate in the presence of the enzyme malate dehydrogenase. Here one molecule of NADH is getting oxidized to one molecule of NAD plus and H plus. Now this malate crosses the mitochondrial membrane and reaches the cytoplasm where it gets converted into oxaloacetate again in the presence of malate dehydrogenase. Here one molecule of NAD plus is getting reduced to NADH. Now there is another way of transport for oxaloacetate, that is aspartate shuttle, in which there is transamination reaction. The aspartate gets transaminated to oxaloacetate or oxaloacetate gets transaminated to aspartate. Now aspartate crosses the mitochondria and reaches the cytoplasm where it again gets converted into oxaloacetate. One important point to remember is that when alanine is the substrate, that is when gluconeogenesis is mainly taking place from alanine, then malate shuttle predominates. Or when the lactate is the substrate, then aspartate shuttle predominates. So this is one important reaction. Now why? Because when alanine is the substrate, malate shuttle predominates is the NADH is required for further reactions of gluconeogenesis in the cytoplasm. Whereas when lactate is the substrate, NADH is not necessary because it is already present in ample amounts through the lactate dehydrogenase reaction. So in step 3, from step 3 to step 10, all the reactions take place inside the cytoplasm. Through the malate aspartate shuttle, the oxaloacetate has reached the cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm there is a decarboxylation reaction. The oxaloacetate undergoes a decarboxylation reaction in the presence of the enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase to form phosphoenol pyruvate and a carbon dioxide molecule. This PEP-CK enzyme or phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase enzyme is the second key gluconeogenetic enzyme, and in this reaction GTP serves as a phosphate donor. This reaction, one important point here is this reaction is mainly present to overcome the irreversible reaction in glycolysis that is catalyzed by pyruvate kinase. So in glycolysis, a reaction that is catalyzed by pyruvate kinase, that is in which phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into, that is in which the phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into pyruvate. This is a irreversible reaction. Now this reaction is overcome by this reaction in gluconeogenesis. The oxaloacetate gets decarboxylated in the presence of the enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase to form phosphoenol pyruvate, and GTP serves as the phosphate donor. Now from here step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all these are partial reversal of glycolysis. These are the same step that take place in the glycolysis with the same enzymes. So those reversible reactions take place in gluconeogenesis also. The phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into 2-phosphoglycerate in the presence of the enzyme enolase, and 2-phosphoglycerate is converted into 3-phosphoglycerate in the presence of the enzyme phosphoglyceromutase, and 3-phosphoglycerate is converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate in the presence of phosphoglycerokinase, and 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in the presence of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate in the presence of the enzyme aldolase. So all these reactions takes place in the cytoplasm itself. Now this is the step 9 of gluconeogenesis, in which the fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is acted upon by fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase to form fructose 6-phosphate. Now this step mainly, this is one of other key gluconeogenic enzymes. This step mainly overcomes the irreversible step of phosphofructokinase of the glycolysis. The irreversible reaction that is catalyzed by the phosphofructokinase is overcome by this reaction, in which fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is acted upon by fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase to form fructose 6-phosphate. Now this fructose 6-phosphate undergoes isomerization in the presence of phosphohexoisomerase to form glucose 6-phosphate. Now this is step 10 of glycolysis, in which the glucose 6-phosphate undergoes hydrolysis in the presence of the enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase to form glucose. So ultimately glucose is formed inside the cytoplasm. There are mainly 4 key enzymes that help in the process of gluconeogenesis. So coming to the summary of gluconeogenesis, the pyruvate that is formed inside the cytoplasm reaches the mitochondria, where in the mitochondria it gets converted into oxaloacetate by a carboxylation reaction in the presence of the enzyme pyruvate carboxylase. This is the first key gluconeogenic enzyme, and now this oxaloacetate gets transported to the cytoplasm through malate aspartate shuttle. Here one important point to note down is, when alanine is a substrate, malate shuttle predominates, whereas when lactate is the substrate, aspartate shuttle predominates. After reaching the cytoplasm, now this oxaloacetate undergoes a decarboxylation reaction in the presence of the enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. This is the second key gluconeogenic enzymes, and from here these are all the partial reversal of glycolysis, that is phosphoenol pyruvate gets converted into 2-phosphoglycerate. 2-phosphoglycerate converts to 3-phosphoglycerate, which gets converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, which again gets converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and which gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. The enzymes are same as glycolysis. Now fructose 1,6-bisphosphate now acted upon by fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase. This is another key enzyme. This mainly overcomes the reaction, the irreversible reaction that is catalyzed by phosphofructokinase. Now this fructose 6-phosphate isomerizes to glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of phosphohexoisomerase, and glucose 6-phosphate now undergoes hydrolysis to form glucose in the presence of the enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase. So here in this, pyruvate carboxylase is one key gluconeogenic enzyme because it helps in the transport of pyruvate by converting into oxaloacetate from cytoplasm to mitochondria, and phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase is another second key gluconeogenic enzyme because it overcomes the reaction that is catalyzed by pyruvate kinase in glycolysis, and fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase is another enzyme which overcomes the reaction, irreversible reaction catalyzed by phosphofructokinase in glycolysis, and glucose 6-phosphatase is another enzyme that finally results in the formation of glucose. Coming to regulation of gluconeogenesis. Regulation is nothing but it is controlling the rate of the pathway. Now gluconeogenesis can be controlled by two methods, by hormonal control, and the other method is by metabolic control. The hormones that mainly help in regulating gluconeogenesis are glucagon, glucocorticoids, and epinephrine, and metabolic control is by acetyl-CoA, ATP-ADP ratio, citrate, fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, and NADH by NAD ratio. We will see each of them in detail in coming. Coming to hormonal control, in conditions like fasting or starvation, all these hormones mainly act upon to increase gluconeogenesis. Glucagon mainly increases gluconeogenesis by increasing the rate of synthesis of key gluconeogenic enzymes. Whereas glucocorticoids, they increase gluconeogenesis by increasing the protein catabolism and thereby providing the substrates that are required for the gluconeogenesis. And epinephrine mainly increases gluconeogenesis by increasing the glycerol availability by fatty acid oxidation. So overall, all the hormones, they increase the gluconeogenesis in specific conditions like fasting and starvation. Now coming to metabolic control, first is acetyl-CoA. During conditions like starvation, there is increased fatty acid oxidation that results in increased acetyl-CoA. Now this acetyl-CoA is an allosteric modulator of the enzyme pyruvate carboxylase. That is, acetyl-CoA mainly activates the enzyme pyruvate carboxylase. It binds to the enzyme and then it lowers its Km value, thereby is increasing its affinity for carbon dioxide. So the reaction in which the oxaloacetate, the reaction in which the pyruvate gets carboxylated to oxaloacetate, that reaction is further increased. That's by promoting gluconeogenesis. Acetyl-CoA allosterically modifies or allosterically regulates the enzyme pyruvate carboxylase. It is a positive modifier and thus it increases the activity of pyruvate carboxylase, ultimately increasing the gluconeogenesis. Second is ATP ADP ratio. Whenever there is increased ATP ADP ratio, that activates all the key enzymes of gluconeogenesis, thereby increasing the gluconeogenesis. Third is citrate. Increased citrate, it mainly promotes gluconeogenesis by increasing the activity of the enzyme fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase enzyme. By increasing the activity of this enzyme, citrate mainly increases the gluconeogenesis. Another way of regulating gluconeogenesis is by fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. This is an important method of regulating. In glycolysis, fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate catalyzed by the enzyme phosphofructokinase 1. The same fructose 6-phosphate, if the reaction is catalyzed by phosphofructokinase 2, it results in the formation of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. Now this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, if it is acted upon by fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase, it results in the formation of fructose 6-phosphate. And fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, if it is acted upon by fructose 2,6-bisphosphatase, it results in the formation of fructose 6-phosphate. This molecule fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, it has a positive effect on phosphofructokinase 1 enzyme, thereby it increases the rate of glycolysis, whereas it has a negative effect on fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, thereby decreasing the gluconeogenesis. Now this effect of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate positively and negatively on both the enzymes are controlled by hormones. So this is how fructose 2,6-bisphosphate regulates gluconeogenesis. Another way of regulating gluconeogenesis is by NADH-NAD ratio. This is specifically seen in alcohol consumption. That is, during alcohol metabolism, there is increased production of NADH. Now this NADH mainly favors the formation of lactate from pyruvate. This increased NADH, it favors the formation of lactate from pyruvate. All the NADH gets utilized in this reaction, and NADH also inhibits the conversion of glycerol 3-phosphate to DHAP. So increased NADH also inhibits the conversion of glycerol 3-phosphate to DHAP. Overall, this creates an hypoglycemic condition, thereby decreasing gluconeogenesis. This is how NADH by NAD ratio regulates gluconeogenesis. So coming to the summary of gluconeogenesis. So overall, pyruvate is converted into glucose in gluconeogenesis, and the hormones like glucagon, glucocorticoids, citrate, ATP ADP ratio, all these promote gluconeogenesis, whereas fructose 2,6-bisphosphate and NADH by NAD ratio, they decrease gluconeogenesis. Thank you.